Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show with your hosts, Rusty Buckets and Uncle Buck. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to take two of the Two Buck Sports Show, Monday edition, live on your lunch break. Drew, you know, we had a great show going there for about 7 minutes before there were some IT issues. We followed the prompts like we normally do to start our live stream, but for whatever reason, we did not go live on YouTube or Twitter. So if y'all been hanging out waiting, thank you, Jim. I know you texted me. Appreciate you looking out for us, buddy. Sorry we're a little late, but welcome to the Monday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I'm your co-host, Rusty Buckets, live as always, 11 o'clock on a Monday with my guy, Drew Gann, a.k.a. Uncle Buck. Drew, take two. What's happening, man?
Man, everything's beautiful in North Mississippi. Stop me if you've heard this before. Listen, we are like hamsters running on a wheel here. You know, like we just kind of just keep running the same direction. If anything goes bad, like we don't know how to fix it. And I just looked down about 5 minutes in the show and was like, nobody's watching. Yeah. And I get on YouTube and I'm like, the show is not on. Like we are not live. It is just me and Rusty talking our best and beef of the weeks to each other.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't care that much about him to have that solo conversation. I want to have it with the good people online on YouTube and X.com.
if we're just going to have the conversations are just the two of us, you know, I don't want to look at him. Well, I just call you. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's it. So we're gonna go back to our best in beef segment of the week. It's the first thing we do every Monday when we do catch up. And Drew, I might have a new beef this go around.
All right. If you're here, let us know. if you're watching us, hop in the chat. Let us know. If you're on X.com on Rusty's page or on the Bluff City Media page, hop on over to the YouTube page for Bluff City Media. Hop in the chat and holler at us. That's where all the cool kids hang out. That's where we prefer you to chat because that's where everybody's at. So, yeah, it is Monday. It's the first show of the week. Me and Rusty are here. We are two best friends for over a decade. And over the weekend, we don't get to talk as much as we used to because I have lots of children and obligations, and he has adult stuff and obligations he's got to do. And so we have hijacked the first segment of our show to talk to each other and to talk to everybody at the same time and just tell each other what the best thing that happened to us this week was, as well as our biggest beef of the weekend. And so we start with our best of the week. Rusty, I set them up. You knock them down. What's the best thing that happened to you this week?
Well, before we get to that, the best in beef is brought to you this week by Donna's Italian Beef at 509 Constitution Drive in Iuka, Mississippi. Open 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, 7 to 11 on Saturday, serving up delicious breakfast, lunch, slug burgers. If you know, you know. Wayno, that's a delicacy in Northeast Mississippi. And so we have, we're just talking about Donna's Italian Beef, how great they serve Northeast Mississippi. If you're on your way to Pickwick from Memphis, 509 Constitution Drive, stop by, tell them the Bucks sent you. Jim will hook you up. He's my cousin, handling the griddle and all things coming off of it. Go see Jim at Donna's Italian Beef. He'll hook you up with a slug burger or a slug biscuit. Check him out, 509 Constitution Drive, Iuka, Mississippi.
I've lived in North Mississippi for a long time, and I've never heard of a slug biscuit before.
That's a new thing that's coming out that Jim is working with, workshopping there at Donna's. So go check him out. I can promise you, if it's anything like the tenderloin biscuit they have there, it's going to be first rate. So y'all check them out, 509 Constitution Drive, Iuka, Mississippi. Wayno, it's a fried soybean patty, but there's a whole backstory to it for another show, just about some of the old bygone eras and what they used to do. But basically, they used to sell a burger for a slug or a nickel in rural Southeast America.
It was derived from the Great Depression where they couldn't afford meats.
That's it.
So, yeah, there's no slugs involved. A slug was a slang term for a nickel, which is what the cost of this soybean burger.
Yeah, because back in the day, it was whatever was left over went into said slug burger. Now it's a fried soybean patty, so it's marginally healthier. But anyway, the best thing that happened to me this week is today is Boone Buddy's 12th birthday. You know, back in October, he got diagnosed with some cancer in his nose, and we weren't sure if he was going to be here for his 12th birthday. So it is his 12th trip around the sun. Got the sticker right here. Shout out to Boone Buddy. I know you're not watching right now because Maggie's at work, but when she watches this back, you'll be listening. So happy birthday, sir. I'm coming by here in a little bit to give you a cookie on my way out to do some more errands this afternoon. But Boone's 12th birthday is my best of the week.
That's a good dogs make everything better. But you know what's better than a dog? A son that plays baseball. And that's my best of the week. Listen, it was chaotic. I'm going to get to my beef of the week in a minute. That'll be the chaotic side of it. But we had a baseball tournament, and this is the last time I'll be talking about travel ball for a little while because it was our last tournament. It was a state tournament, and we didn't get any wins, although we did get our heart ripped out in the bracket play on yesterday. We went in the whole game against the number 1 seed until we weren't. And so it is what it is. But even in losses, Braxton probably played the best baseball he's ever played in his life. Had 2 pretty good catches in the outfield, which for coach pitch is impressive that you just catch the ball when it's hit into the air. And on top of that, he threw a couple guys out at second base that didn't tag up. You know, baseball, the whole
Baseball
art form of
101.
baseball is not there yet for these guys, the brains of it. But he played really well. He turned on an inside pitch and hit it over the right fielder's head one time, and that caused me to lose my mind, running out of the dugout and screaming and hollering. And so, you know, just happy to be a part of that, see him growing in a sport that we love. And it seems like he is actually starting to love it. And so, you know, and care about the quality of baseball that he is exhibiting instead of just being there to have fun with his friends. He's actually starting to care, and it's actually starting to affect him, which is a curse of it because we all care about sports way too much.
Way too much.
It affects our moods.
It
and
does.
Thankfully, my son's getting to be just like that. So that's my best of the week, travel ball tournament. But what comes up must come down. The other shoe must drop, Rusty.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing of your week?
Well, outside of StreamYard giving us issues today, there is nothing worse than being in a good slumber like I was Saturday morning and waking up with your stomach tied in a knot. I was sleeping soundly Saturday morning, and I just kind of flinched a little bit, and all of a sudden I was wide awake, and I had a business decision to make that I had some business to go handle at 4 a.m., and I was wasting no time. That's all, like, not TMI with our good people out there, but there's nothing worse than being woken up by your GI system with an imminent problem that you must address.
Yeah. You never want to be late to a meeting scheduled Code Brown. You know,
that's it, man. Especially scheduled in the wee hours of the morning. You need to be on time. Thankfully, I was, but it is not the way you want to wake up on a weekend, nonetheless. Like wake up early during the week. Saturday's my day to sleep in a little bit, and for me, that's still 6 or 6:30. But I had a 4 a.m. wake up call, and there was no snoozing that call. That's for sure.
No, you could have, but a Code Brown requires the ASAP importance.
Shout out Wayno. I do look lighter today. It was that kind of a day, but I'm grateful that is behind us. And then my beef of today is for whatever reason just not going live anywhere. And every time I tried to pull it up on Twitter, it would say, "Oops, something went wrong. Oops, something went wrong." Yeah. So I got tired of talking to this buffoon and came back to talk to you fine people.
Yeah. So my biggest beef of the week is not a beef because I am happy that my wife got to go on a trip, but it is that my wife went on a trip over the weekend. She left Thursday with 4 other women, all of which in their 30s, except for my wife, who, as much as she hates to admit it, will turn 30 in December. She's pretending like it's not happening, but I'm reminding her often.
Welcome to the club.
She's going to be 30. And so she went out of town and picked the absolute worst weekend to do it because, as I said, we had a baseball tournament, and this tournament, unlike all the other tournaments we've played, was a 3-day tournament versus 1. So we played at 2:00 on Friday, we played all day Saturday, and then we had to go Sunday at 11 o'clock to play. And thankful for my neighbors. The mother, the responsible one, the mother figure in that household was on the trip too. So thankfully they've got a 14-year-old daughter who was more than willing and able to help us on Saturday to keep the kids for us so that me and Braxton could go to the game. And came home to an absolute disaster. It's like there was a tornado that blew through and they left all the windows open. It was just an absolute disaster. But again, it was not nearly the disaster as it would have been if I had to take a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old to a baseball game in which it was 90 degrees and we stayed out there for like 4 hours through a rain delay and everything else.
Jeez.
So thankful for my neighbors. I did take both kids to the game yesterday on Sunday. It was just one game. And let me tell you something. Nothing quite makes all the other husbands feel the ire of their wives as much as I made them feel when I rolled up to a baseball tournament, pushing a tandem stroller with 2 kids in it, with 2 kids in tail to a baseball game. They're like, multiple wives just came up to me and she's like, yeah, my husband would never do that. And I was like, I'm amazing. Write it down, send it to my wife.
Yeah, let her know, please. For all these times I'm reminding her of her upcoming birthday, you please remind her.
Yes. So listen, all is well that ends well. I think it's how the saying goes, and it ended well. So Mama got home yesterday afternoon. Glad she's back. I proceeded to say, welcome home. Here's a stinky diaper. The game just started. I'm going to go lay down.
So she had to change your diaper, and then you could go watch the game.
You're not the one to be making dirty diaper jokes today, sir.
Touche. Before we dive into NBA talk we've wrapped up everybody's favorite time waste, I do want to talk to you a little bit about one of our sponsors and partners here, Ounce of Hope. Ounce of Hope is a local Memphis cannabis dispensary that specializes in THC seltzers, gummies, mushroom vitality, CBD recovery tablets. That's kind of what I've been on recently is these Rebound soft gel capsules, 750 milligrams of CBD, 300 milligrams of curcumin to help with any kind of brain fog, recovery, bounce back that you need. For me, it's allergy season. I also took up a new habit this morning, which should have been my beef of today, is I'm starting to run again as I'm getting a little pudgy in the middle, pudgier in the middle, because I'm pudgy but not picky in the kitchen. So maybe I shouldn't be talking about Ounce of Hope, but Ounce of Hope with 2 locations here in Memphis, in the Sanderland Center and in the Cooper Young neighborhood on South Cooper Street. Check them out. Great bud tenders on staff to help with any questions about products that fit your needs. I recommend the seltzers. Try the Peach Buzz or the Cherry Jane. They are phenomenal. Great alcohol alternatives, hangover-free alternative to help you relax on a Friday night as you head into a weekend. Or you can go to ounceofhope.com if you're out of town. Use the code BluffCity, all one word, for 15% off your first order. Check them out. Tell them that the Bucks in Bluff City sent you, and they'll fix you up.
Looking for an alternative to alcohol or conventional medicine? Check out Ounce of Hope, a Memphis-based dispensary with 2 local stores in the Sanderland Center and on South Cooper Street. You can get all the products you need in a location convenient to you. Each store offers an intentional shopping experience with dedicated bud tenders to answer all of your questions, from product selection and mushroom blends to our personal favorite, the Delta 9 seltzers. You gotta try the Peach Buzz. Try Ounce of Hope at either one of their 2 Memphis stores or at www.ounceofhope.com for convenient products shipped right to your door. Use the promo code BluffCity for 15% off any order, excluding sale items. Cannot be used in conjunction with other promotions or discounts. One use per customer.
Oh, hang on. Got Uncle Buck is muted, and there you go. Come on back. Welcome back.
Welcome back to the 2 Buck Sports Show. I was just practicing my miming. I was not muted. I was not muted.
Sign language.
Just practicing my miming. And so if you could tell by my very artistic miming skills, it is segment number 2. Segment number 2, we talk about NBA basketball. There was an NBA Finals Game 2 last night in which we kept waiting for the Indiana Pacers to come back again, but they didn't. So series is tied 1-1. And they're headed to Indianapolis, Indiana for games 3 and 4 against the Pacers. So, Rusty, game 2, any thoughts?
Yeah, it's like I told you on the group chat. Like, eventually you're not going to be able to dig out of the hole against this Thunder team, and that's what happened last night. The Pacers would make a run and come back, and then Lou Dort would cut off water, or Aaron Wiggins would hit a big shot, or SGA got in his bag in the second half and got to the free throw line late. The free throw disparity didn't seem as bad last night, but in the first and fourth quarter, it just felt like every time I looked up, Shea or somebody was standing at the free throw line, and the rhythm is just hard to watch. But One of the bright spots is this Pacers team is keeping pace with the Thunder. Like, they won by 16. It ballooned up to about 21 in the fourth quarter. But Indiana is not laying down. Like, this would have been, if this had been Minnesota or Memphis, I mean, you talk about a belt to behind butt whooping is what would have happened last night. But this Pacers team is tough. They play well at home outside of game 3, as you have pointed out. But I think this you have to you have to win at least one at home. You're not going back to Oklahoma City down 3-1 and expecting to claw back for a game 6 in Indiana. That just ain't happening. And so I hope that they can bounce back in game 3. But I saw a lot of positives last night outside of Halliburton, because Hallie was not great, Drew, as you talked about already today. Hallie had a rough night last night. It would be 2 rough games if it wasn't for a game winner. But the Thunder showed what they can do by slowing him down, Siakam down, and really turn this Indiana Pacers team away from what they wanted to do, ultimately leading to the Thunder victory.
Yeah, thank you for stealing all my talking points. But yeah,
you asked me what I thought, so I'm sharing it.
Yeah, then you said my thoughts because you cheated and listened to the Daily Grind this morning. So, yeah, this game was won. Shea was much more efficient. He still had how many shots did he take last night? Still took quite a few shots, which is good. 21 shots. But he 50% from the field roughly. Didn't shoot well from 3. But in the fourth quarter, Oklahoma City shot 25 free throws in the second half. They didn't shoot hardly any in the first half. If you do the numbers here, they shot oh no, where did it go?
11 and they shot 8 in the first half, 25 in the second.
Okay. So 33 free throws, 25 of which came in the second half. And this game was really decided by Shea being really good and a lot more efficient, as well as he got all of his running buddies to run alongside of him. 5 players had more than 15 points. First time that was done since Toronto did it in 2019, a team that had Pascal Siakam on it.
Mm-hmm.
Chet was good. J-Dub was amazing last night. Caruso just did Caruso things, hit down a lot of shots, and Chet was really good last night. They had 5 players score 15 points, and you compare that to what the Indiana role players did, and it was just a whole bunch of nothing. Oklahoma City did not win the turnover battle, and they did not win the points off turnover battle, which has been so important for the Thunder all year long. They just straight up made life difficult. And it wasn't necessarily points off turnovers. It was just they played them straight up. Turnovers were a 0, and they still got a very decisive win. Tyrese Halliburton was not too great, but what's more concerning to me is not that he wasn't good, although that is important, but it's that he wasn't aggressive. He wasn't the alpha. And whereas it may have been a strength in the Eastern Conference playoffs, once you get to this point, I will refuse to believe that a team can win the title without having a top 10 or 15 player in the NBA that can be an alpha when you need an alpha. And it turns out like how Tyrese Halliburton in 2 games of this NBA Finals, he's just not been good, and he's just not taking a lot of shots either. It's been very passive. And game 1 was overshadowed by yet again another buzzer beater to win it, which was amazing. And when you need him most, you want him, but the first 47 and a half minutes just has not been there so far this series.
Well, let me ask you this, Drew. So this is back-to-back series now where the alpha from the other team has not stepped up and taken shots. If you remember, if we think all the way back to Memphis, you had Ja Morant, who was kind of slow coming along, but game 3 was cooking, and then Lou Dort took him out. But in that Nugget series, Nikola Jokic got his shots and did what he needed to. But then when they faced the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards did not shoot the ball very much,
including inefficient series,
including game 4, where he didn't take his first shot till the second quarter. And so, Drew, is this more of like Hallie and Ant being passive, or do you think this is more of a testament to Oklahoma City's defense that's forcing those guys to not be aggressive and find other outlets?
I think it's the style of play. They are very much some is better than its parts. They play together, they play deep, they always spread the love, and they play in a very unique kind of a chorus of offense. Nobody is really greater than anybody else, but they all just kind of just get their points. They do their job and they get out and run, and it works for them. But in the finals and in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's kind of the reason why I've not been too big on Indiana anyways, is that I have a conviction that you've just got to have a superstar. And whereas Halliburton has been a superstar in the last 2 minutes of every game that's close, he just hasn't been in the first 46 minutes of the game. And when you've got as many wing defenders as Oklahoma City has, you can deploy Dort on you, or Kason Wallace, or Shea is big and long and rangier. You've just got a medley of defenders you can throw at him. And if you can just cut off the head of the snake, then you're really depending on role players carrying the water for you. And that just doesn't work as well. And in fact, this would be the first time it worked and resulted in a championship since the Detroit Pistons did it with Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton and Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace, so you just don't see it. And so, yeah, they cut the head off the snake, the small head, I guess, of Halliburton, because I've just been kind of dogging him. But when you take the best player out, the other guys have to follow. The other guys didn't follow.
Yeah, agreed. And Jim still believes Pacers in 6. I mean, there's still a path there. They've done it. They were able to beat them in game 1, hanging around and not letting Oklahoma City get on that onslaught. But we saw last night a 19-0 run, a 19-2 run, where it was just ugly basketball. The Pacers are going to have to figure out other options like Wayno's talking about here. Yes, they play with pace, but what happens when you get punched? How do you counter punch, right? Because Mike Tyson says everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And so far, outside of late in game 1, which I think was more on maybe Oklahoma City getting cute than the Pacers necessarily making that massive comeback, they haven't been able to counterpunch and figure out another plan. So it's going to have to be somebody, because last night the Thunder effectively made everybody ineffective. Siakam was not good, especially in big stretches last night after he's been so dominant in the playoffs this year so far for them. I mean, Mathurin had some moments where he was pretty good. Neesmith was pretty good in stretches, but nobody was great last night. And you're going to need some guys to counterpunch on these runs that Oklahoma City goes on.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's kind of the reason why I said Indiana in 5, which was a very popular. Oklahoma City in 5, which was by far the most popular pick. I felt very unoriginal by doing that, but it's just I feel like if Indiana cannot get up and run, force turnovers, and do exactly what Oklahoma City also wants to do, then they can't play a half-court style basketball game. I do believe that SGA, being a mid-range assassin and can get to any shot he wants to at any time, that helps them in a half-court if the game goes half-court. And I just don't think Indiana has any counterpunch to Oklahoma City if Oklahoma City wants to slow it down. So listen, Indiana, if they have a shot, in my opinion, if they have a legitimate shot at winning this NBA Finals, they have to win both games in Indiana. There's just no way around it for me. I don't think that there's any way that after game 4, if it is split 2-2, that Indiana will win this series.
That's what Jim just said. That's the recipes. You have to win both of them, because if it becomes where you have to win game 5 in Oklahoma City, you're cooked. You have to turn it into a best of 3. You have to win, at least go back tied. But if you can go back up 3-1, if you can win both of them, there's a shot that you win it at home in game 6. That's a real thing. But this Thunder team can get on you in a hurry. That's what we were talking about last night in the group chat. It's so amazing how on either end they can just bury you offensively. And because they're so physical, Caruso plays with his hand. Dort played with their hands on people all night long, forcing the refs to call fouls, understanding they're not going to call everything. And so they play so physical that it's hard to overcome that. But Indiana's going to have to figure out a way to do that. And going home can certainly help with that if they can figure out their game 3 woes. Yeah,
that's the key. They have not won a game 3 at home all playoffs long. Yeah. So, yeah, they've got to win both of them at home, in my opinion, for them to have a shot.
Yeah, they've got to. So hang around. I got some exciting news. We've got a Pacers podcast that's going to be on with us on our Wednesday edition. As we come back, we're going to be talking finals. We'll get his opinion, some inside information It's a podcast, if you want to check them out in the meantime, called Setting the Pace, which is an awesome name of a podcast to cover the Pacers. But we'll have Alex Golden from Setting the Pace on our Wednesday show. Super excited about that. Be hanging out with us, talking Pacers, what he expects going into Game 3, and what can happen, what the Pacers need to do to make a win happen at home on Wednesday night. But Drew, we're going to stay in the NBA for a little bit. We've got some concerning news out of Memphis. Stop me if you've heard this before, but a Memphis Grizzly has been injured and is going to miss the start of the next basketball season. One, Zach Edey is undergoing what's called a tightrope procedure, where they go in and they implant basically a new ligament in his ankle to help strengthen up that ankle joint that he has turned so many times. That left ankle has rolled so many times at this point that it's warranting a surgery. Some big name athletes that have had it. Kyle Korver was an NBA player that had it. He was out about 3 or 4 months. Tua Tagovailoa was an anomaly. He had this procedure and was only out about like 4 to 6 weeks, but that doesn't happen. So don't expect that to be the recovery of Zach Edey. You got to think about frame and the conservativeness that is the Memphis Grizzlies, right? Like Kyle Korver's a smaller frame guy, not as much weight, not as much height on those ankles. So he was able to come back in about 3 or 4 months. It's already been leaked that Zach Edey is going to miss the start of the season. So you're already looking at a 4-month recovery. In my professional opinion, as a PT, I think that 6 months is kind of going to be where we land. So I would look for him to return sometime in December, simply because of he's 7'5". It's super recurrent. We're very conservative with how we manage injuries, and you want this thing to take. There is a chance that you could re-sprain that ankle, and we start all the way over at that point. So I think they're going to be extra conservative, and I think we see Zach Edey back on the bench in game close in December.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Zach Edey recovers from this and ends up being a multiple, 2 or 3 time All-Star, all defensive player of the year with a, 10 to 12 year career, he'd be the first 7'5" person to ever do it. Like, that's the reason why I was out on him before. It's the reason why I'm still out on him. I love the mindset. I love his mentality. I love how coachable, and I love the improvements that he's made. But I just don't see how a 7'5" dude can last in the NBA, especially not with the Grizzlies, who are intent, along with the rest of the NBA, to run as fast as possible. He's 7'5" and he has bad feet. Like, I can't get behind it yet.
Sure.
Like, I know, Rusty, you've been like massively in Edey's camp since, I don't know, when you drank the Kool-Aid, because it wasn't after we drafted him. But
it was what I saw in November and December before your head coach decided to bench him. He was playing at an elite level that was leading, like a leading candidate as a rookie of the year. And then through coaching malpractice, he lost his confidence. He lost his ability to play in the offense. And we were playing a goofy offense anyway. And so now heading into a more pick and roll offense, I think there's a chance that he's going to be competitive. But I think Wayno's already gotten to our solution.
I think that's the reason. I think you're stepping on the reason why you're in the Zach Edey camp, is because the Zach Edey camp and the anti-Taylor Jenkins camp run on the same track. Like, you can't tell me that, like, why. I don't want to rehash Taylor Jenkins.
But I'm asking. I'm leaving Taylor Jenkins alone. I'm asking. You can't. No. You can't do that. You can't throw up an argument and then run and hide and bail from it. So hang with me just for a second. So
I'm just saying that this isn't the Taylor Jenkins thing for me.
They go one and the same. How can you look at the production that Zach Edey was playing and whatever coach benched him, insert Taylor Jenkins or whoever, like, it doesn't make sense. He got benched on a road trip when he was cooking and he was playing really well. And then all of a sudden, coaching malpractice is what led to it. I don't care who the coach was or who made that decision. It was goofy.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of the long-term fit beside John Morant. I've never been a fan of how a 7'5" dude who doesn't run and has bad feet will ever run up and down the NBA court for as long as what we hope that Zach Edey will. So,
I mean, he rolled it last season and it worked out pretty well until coach benched him. Again, he was the leading candidate for rookie of the year. A, B, this new system is fit for him. What he did in college with a pick and roll, and it's perfect. It's going to be if it's a true pick and roll system like what T.I. wants to run. And we'll talk about some of the coaches he's going to bring in here in a minute, how that'll help. It could be just exactly what we needed Zach Edey for and why we drafted him in the beginning.
You know what? If everything works out, then great. I will never be convinced that Zach Edey will just stay healthy and be able to run an NBA game. Because Rusty, you've never seen it. You've never seen it.
It was working for a while. When he was healthy,
It was working for a half a season.
This surgery,
in which he rolled his ankle in that season.
But this surgery is to
times.
prevent that from happening again. This surgery can correct that. And I'm gonna clip this. And when we're having this conversation this time next year, we'll see about it.
Maybe just maybe if it prevented rolled ankles, this would be a preventative surgery for everybody that wants to play in the NBA.
That's the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life. You want to play in the NBA? Let's go have ankle surgery so you miss time.
People are not supposed to be 7'5".
This is the wildest.
People are not supposed.
People have done it for a millennia. People have done it for a millennia, and they
don't hold up in the NBA.
I guess we're gonna see. I cannot wait to make you eat crow about this, but
give me a point. Give me a case in point in which a 7'5" center who tries to be athletic lasts in the NBA.
So again, the system that your coach, who we're not even going to talk about anymore, ran last year did not fit him. But a pick and roll system can work with a guy like Yao Ming, can work with a guy like Zach Edey. Man, like it's like
never
you firmly
the correct
your
answer
flag
is that never happened
on the opposite side. Man, it happens.
The correct answer is that there has never been a greater than 7'3" player that runs in an athletic NBA that's ever lasted.
Look, I'm telling you, this surgery is going to help. We're having our first year that we've got a young team in the NBA Finals. It's the year of first, Drew, and Zach Edey is going to be the first one that recovers from the surgery and bounces back.
Well, at least I can get you to admit that if it does happen, it will be the first time ever, which is all I've been trying to say.
No, it's not. But anyway, I don't know that I've ever seen somebody be a fan of a team that roots so hard for their lack of success. But I'm going to leave that alone.
I have an opinion about a player. Don't say
so then what we've got is Jaren Jackson Jr. likely going to move to the center. I think that's the most likely scenario. Going back to what he did his rookie year, where he played alongside Marc Gasol and played more in the paint. That's the most likely scenario. You could go get like a mid-level or a cheap center where you can throw like a league minimum. Marvin Bagley would be a candidate for that, but we won't be able to do that unless we truly let him test free agency and he just really wants to come back to Memphis. A team like the Lakers, who are in desperate need of a center, might throw him a bag the entire MLE or throw whatever they can at it and get him out to LA. For us, we're going to need him on the league minimum, and that's just going to mean he really wants to be in Memphis. So I don't know that that's an option.
I don't know make a trade. He's going to get an offer over the league minimum anyways.
He may not, but I'm telling you, a team like the Lakers that are desperate enough might throw a bag at him that we can't match or won't match because of some of the other things we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So that opens the door. Do you do a trade? That's what I'm getting. Do you want to do a trade? Do you want to what is the best case scenario you think out there for the Memphis Grizzlies?
I mean, best case scenario, I don't know, is Miles Turner going to be available at Indiana? You know, are they going to go into the luxury tax to extend Miles Turner? That's best case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
If you just look at the current roster, like if Brandon Clark's healthy, I want Brandon Clark starting the 5. I don't want Jaren starting the 5. Especially in this system that you're intent on is happening with a lot of screen and rolls and starting the offense with a high ball screen for John Morant. I don't really want that being Jaren Jackson Jr. It's never been what he's good at before, and so I don't really want it now. Especially with, in this case, if Jaren's the 5, you're talking about Santi being the 4 probably if he's re-signed. And so I just don't really care for that. So just give me Old Faithful, give me a healthy Brandon Clark to start at the 5, unless there is a move made for a big.
And that's what makes me nervous. That's the other solution is Jaren staying at the 4, and then you put Brandon at the 5. But you talk about a big who can't stay healthy. The last 2 seasons have ended with Brandon Clark with a pretty major injury that he's played in. Obviously, I would love for him to be the guy. Hopefully, he's currently at. He posted yesterday on his Instagram story that he was at Harry Potter World in China or Japan or somewhere. So hopefully, they're figuring out some kind of solution or spell that they can cast on him there to make his knees and ankles be well. That's the best case scenario for me. Otherwise, do you then try and make a package where you go get another big from Brooklyn or from Detroit, or do you go and try and find another center that you can trade that can be a bit more reliable?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think everybody would lust after Miles Turner again but I don't think Indiana will ever actually trade him, despite how much conversation there is, and especially considering they've made it to the NBA Finals now. The price of the brick went up on him, but I don't know what Thomas Bryant's contract situation is. I've liked him in spurts for Indiana. There's the thing about bigs, and it's the reason why I was also kind of out on Edey, is like I feel like it's the most easily replaceable position in the NBA.
Sure.
And we took him at 9. So you took a very prototypical archetype, like a very specific thing that Zach Edey can do, and you took him at 9, and the scope of his game is much more limited than what you could have gotten at 9. And that was the start of my animosity at the Zach Edey pick. And the center position, the 5 position particularly, if you're going, the crux of your game is going to be to rebound and set ball screens. I feel like that's something you could get that are a dime a dozen. If Indiana can make Thomas Bryant, who has been a journeyman, never been anywhere for more than 2 years, and I don't think anybody's ever loved him, a rotation player in the NBA Finals, because you develop a corner 3 shot, I feel like you can find that other places. And so I do think that the Grizzlies, for the second offseason in a row, is looking for somebody who can play the 5.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where you go, but if you're running back the same roster, give me Brandon Clark 10 times out of 10.
Agreed. I think that's where we'll at least come out.
We've got breaking news too, injury news. If you want to, I don't know if you saw it yet.
I did.
So per Shams Charania, future Grizzly, you'll know why he's a future Grizzly in a minute. Cleveland Cavaliers star Darius Garland underwent surgery to repair a great toe injury, not a great toe.
Yeah.
And he's going to be out 4 to 5 months, missing the start of next season as well. So that's why he'll end up being a Grizzly.
Yep. Likely turf toe. Anytime you have surgery like that on your big toe, it's likely turf toe, which is where the flexor tendon underneath your toe ruptures, and that hurt. Like, you can't jump, you can't run. It hurts like crazy. You think when we were a kid, like, I know I did when Deion Sanders struggled with turf toe for most of his career. I'm like, he just stubbed his toe. Like, what is that? No, it's actually a rupturing of the ligament, and it's bad news. It's bad news.
Deion wish he had enough toes to get turf toe on there.
he solved that problem. Or I guess blood clots did, but the other breaking news that might impact the Grizzlies today, Drew. I saw Boston is currently shopping Drew Holiday, looking for a first round pick. Is that somebody that you would consider sending a first round pick out for?
Yes. Absolutely.
I think you make that call. I think you see what you can do to try and get into Memphis, because he's a wing he's a 3-and-D wing with a tough-ness and an edge to him that would fit on
calling
this
him
team.
A wing is probably being generous.
He's
generous. A point guard.
Being generous.
Yeah. But the Grizzlies fans love backup point guards, and Drew is not that guy. So I don't really know if the fit's there. But I mean, you're just talking about multi-time NBA champion, guy that really makes his bones on the defensive side of the basketball and really plays a role and excels at that role. Like, that's the exact archetype of player that I want to add to this team.
Yeah. We'd be remiss to at least not address some of the coaching rumors that are coming out. Drew, one of the things that we said on this Toumas Iisalo staff is we needed former players and we needed guys with some chops and some experience. And the 2 names that have come out that have been leaked, and names like this, if you're interviewing for jobs, typically don't get leaked unless there's some backing to it and some serious things going there. Our former head coach, most recently of the Milwaukee Bucks, one Adrian Griffin, was a player in the NBA from 1999 to 2008, was the head coach with the Bucks before being replaced by Doc Rivers, and is currently out of a job, but was interviewed this week. The name before him was James Dudley, a former player in the NBA from 2007 to 2021.
Try again.
Just Jared Dudley. And I did that this morning when I was looking at it. I looked up James, and I'm like, that's not it. Jared. So you got Jared Dudley, former player, won an NBA title as a player in 2020. And Adrian Griffin was also on the 2019 NBA champion Raptors bench as a coach. But Dudley won the title in 2020. He's kind of known as like a relatable players kind of coach. He's a hard-nosed guy in the locker room who can set a tone. He's been kind of the front of the bench, almost like that players coach, kind of the lead assistant for Dallas since 2021 under Jason Kidd. I don't know about you, Drew, but both of these coaches check a lot of boxes for me in what would be a great assistant coach.
Absolutely. When I was talking about a head coach, I talked about a former player, because the most important thing that the Grizzlies can add is a voice and somebody that's got the credo to tell John Morant, like, hey, this is important, care. And for him to actually listen. And so I thought, in my Uncle Buck's stupid opinion, thought that probably comes from a former player better than somebody who's just a career coach that started in the film room, like Taylor Jenkins did, So that's kind of where I love both. And I'll be honest with you, if he lands either of them, I'll be super impressed because I didn't think that he really had the name or the draw that could get anybody to even answer the phone. Like, who in the world is Toumas Iisalo? I don't know. Sounds like spam. I'm going to hang up.
Yeah, that's it. And so one of the things we said is, can he bring in NBA names? These are two big NBA names that have been interviewed. I don't know that they're leaked unless there's some serious credence here. Hopefully one of them turns into a bench coach for us. I'd love to get both of them, but one is better than none, and they both have chops that I think would be great on this staff. Maybe somebody that can get Ja Morant's ear and get in his head and help him to stay and play a little bit more. I don't know.
And if it's Adrian Griffin, hopefully he's better at being the good guy than being the head guy, because he was always loved, I think, when he was on Bud's staff. And then he was the last one of that Bud tree that was in Atlanta to get a head job. You know, Taylor Jenkins was on that staff at Atlanta. And Adrian Griffin was the last one to get that job at Milwaukee, and it did not go well. And it sounded like there was probably some lessons that he learned the hard way when it comes to keeping your best player in your good graces.
Yep.
So hopefully he's found a way to balance that line between being a tough, accountable coach and also remaining just a little bit likable.
Yeah, exactly. So real quick to wrap up the shows, we both got to go due to technical difficulties. We'll move our college baseball segment to a Wednesday. The answer here is no, because we saw how well that worked with T.I., coaching. You had a coach, Taylor Jenkins, looking over his shoulder, coaching the entire time. I think we've put all of our chips in the Toumas experiment. You've got to hang out there. I don't think you go get a guy that's, somebody that could be a head coach in waiting. I just feel like that handicaps your team.
Yeah, but I don't think either of those guys would necessarily be
correct.
The next be crowned the king in waiting. You know what I'm saying? Like Toumas was. Toumas, all the writing was on the wall because you went and you paid a huge buyout. You got him from Europe. All this other kind of stuff. Dudley and Griffin are both journeyman assistant coaches. Dudley is no doubt going to be a head coach one day, but I don't think that time's yet.
I don't think so.
And so I don't think Toumas would look over his shoulder, although if Zach Kleiman did it for you, he can do it to you. So it's just like the whole some wives say, cheaters is always a cheater. There'll always be that. Like, if it can be done to you, it can be done for you, and so we'll see. But I hope that's not the case.
I don't know if that's the case. I don't know that Zach Kleiman is making that next call. That's for sure. If this one doesn't work out, I don't know that he's making that call.
That's 100% true.
But that's going to do it for your Monday edition of the $2 Sports Show. Thanks for hanging with us today. Again, come back on Wednesday. We have a great guest, Alex Golden from Setting the Pace Pod. We'll talk college baseball. We'll talk Game 3 preview. And in the meantime, be a friend to somebody who needs a friend. And there are no refunds for what you heard today on the $2 Sports Show.
That's right, because with the $2, you always get what you pay for. Hope everybody has a good day, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page, like this video, and leave a comment. We will see you back here in a few days.